But then what does it do for the next generation? And so now her children are saying, I'm going to be a software engineer. Mommy, let's play the code game together. Let's build something together. So now her children have had their minds enlarged and enhanced, and it's impacting the cousins, and then it impacts the aunties and the uncles. And so wait a minute, what are you doing? We have an opportunity to change the economic landscape of a generation, and not just one generation, multiple generations, when we provide opportunities and open doors for young adults from BIPOC communities to come in, learn these skills, and implement them and show their value in the organization.
Welcome to Tech Intersect. I'm your host, Tanya Evans, and my life and work exist at the heart of law, business, and technology. Yeah, I've earned a few fancy titles and degrees over the years, but the bottom line is I'm a writer, speaker, teacher, and lifelong learner. And I'm really excited that you've joined me on this journey. So what is Tech Intersect? Well, it's authentic, empowering conversations with really interesting guests who demystify complex topics to prepare you for the future, because your future is now. And it exists where law, business, and tech intersect. Get ready to listen, learn, and leverage. Let's get started. In this episode of Tech Intersect, I am so very excited to welcome Ayanna Lott-Pollard to the show. She is the executive director of the nonprofit Resilient Coders, which is an alternative talent boot camp for low-income young adults from BIPOC communities, that's Black and Indigenous peoples. And Ayanna is a creative strategist with more than 20 years of experience in marketing and operations. She's a transformational leader who uses influence to inspire, which I love so much. She develops teams while serving as a collaborative force and a connector of dots, in quotes, which is a powerful statement I look forward to hearing more about. She is fully invested in business initiatives and coaching initiatives to emerging leaders who need to understand their significance and develop a leadership framework for their careers, which is very future forward. We're always talking about things of that nature. And if I'm not mistaken, I feel like Twitter brought us together. She will correct me if I'm wrong. But I invited Ayanna onto the show to talk about one of the greatest battles of our generation, equitable access to and meaningful, lasting participation in the economy, today's economy, and more importantly, the future. With the income gap consistently widening and roughly half of Americans not seeing a raise in almost, I know this is hard to believe, but maybe not, this may apply to you, in almost 4 decades. We have clearly hit a crisis point, an inflection point, especially in systemically disenfranchised communities. So in this episode, we'll talk about social justice through economic empowerment. We'll do all of that and more in a moment. But first, Ayanna, welcome.
Thank you so much. That was such a wonderful, wonderful introduction. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I prepare for all of my conversations. I was about to say interviews, but I really do think of this more as a conversation. I was really taken by your journey, really excited to share it with the listeners, and also really encourage people. We are almost at the end of February, if we can believe it.
It's unbelievable.
Right? And so we've settled down past the new year. People are leaning into the realities of work and what their future might look like. And we're certainly going to paint the picture of where we are today. But by the end of this conversation, I want to empower people to take whatever that next right step is toward an empowering future. And that begins with meaningful participation. So tell folks about you and certainly Resilient Coders.
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you, Professor Evans, for having me. I am a big fan of your podcast. So it is such a pleasure to be here today. My name is Ayanna Lott-Pollard, as we've already discussed, born and raised in Philadelphia.
Wait a minute. Hold the phone. I forgot to say that. You are a Philly John like me. Okay, yes, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, I am a Philly John. I love to see your nephew last week wearing the Eagles, the Eagles jersey. We're not going to talk about how it ended, but we are Philly Johns. And born and raised in Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, actually. attended all public schools. I had very brilliant parents who believed in the power of the village. They believed in the power of connecting me and my three siblings to community. I know that's the foundation of why I'm where I am today. They made us understand at a very early age that we were responsible, not just to be successful for ourselves, but we had a responsibility to reach back into our community and pull the next generation forward. And so that pretty much has been the force for all the work I've done in my career. From, I thought I wanted to go into politics, and I quickly realized that that wasn't for me. But I've often found myself working for organizations that have a mission that align with my personal values. And so I've worked for the Salvation Army in leadership. I've worked for the American Cancer Society. I've worked for Virtual Health System right across the bridge in South Jersey, developing their wellness mission. And it's so ironic that through each and every part of my process in my career, it has been nonlinear, but business has been always at the forefront. I'm always in business. I'm always doing operations. I'm able to switch my hat because I believe my foundation, which was in advertising, provided me with a strong foundation for understanding business, understanding how people think, what motivates people. And so I've used those skills and just continue to allow them to grow and, of course, take classes. And so here I am at Resilient Coders at this time of my life. And I'm so excited to be working for an organization that is truly impacting the next generation. And I'll pause because I can just go.
That's amazing. Yeah, the foundation is critically important because, and by foundation, I literally mean the shoulders on which you stand, the foundation that is laid and set for us that also sets an expectation of excellence, both because of who you come from and also in spite of surroundings that don't want to see you win. And so you started off early and often knowing that there was always something more and something better. We were talking before we began recording the conversation. Sometimes our heads are so down, and I'll speak for myself, in the work, just doing the work. And I don't do it for accolades. All those things may or may not come, but that I always want to leave people, places, and things better than I found them. And so I hear that very much in your story as you set up what it looks like to participate meaningfully in the economy and in business. Talk about even business from an entrepreneur's point of view. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who listen to the show. There are a lot of people who are building within corporate America and academia as well. And sometimes people think it's either or. But can it be both and, particularly in the future as we think about how business is changing in the future of work?
I think the pandemic has taught us all that we should either be entrepreneurs or careerpreneurs, which means I do my work, my 9 to 5, and I also have work that I'm responsible for outside of the 9 to 5 that will feed me spiritually, mentally, financially, because we have to have both. We can't afford to be privy to the whims of employers. We can't afford to be privy to the whims of employers. We can't be, or the economy or government or anything like that. So there are many of us who say, what else can I do? And I was listening to a podcast earlier this week, and they were saying that there were 1.8 million people who opened businesses last year.
Wow.
1.8 million people said, you know what? I was laid off. This happened, and they found another way. And so all of us, we look at, okay, I have this. There are multiple streams of income that we can engage because we're so talented. We have so many things that we can do.
So when people focus on, let's say, either upskilling within, but let's stay on the thread of where we are, reskilling for other opportunities, what are some of the challenges when people start to pivot, particularly in tech, to prepare themselves for what is required in order to be successful in the future as a matter of technology?
Technology is an area where we can flourish because it is a high growth opportunity. People will pay in tech. And we often talk about degrees. But technology is a space where we don't need the paper ceiling.
Right.
People have learned how to code. They've learned how to become software engineers. They go in, you can go on YouTube, you can go to take different classes. And if you have the capacity and the skill to do these things, you can earn a beautiful living wage.
Right.
And so there are so many people who, like me, may have graduated with a degree. My degree was in journalism.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I graduated, I was making $19,500 a year. And they can graduate and say, oh, wow, this income is not helping me meet my needs. I still have a deficit. My revenues aren't strong enough. And then change their mind, teach themselves to code, teach themselves IT skills, gain the knowledge, and then implement it instantly and level up. So that's an area where there's a great need, there's a great opportunity. And if people have the capacity to learn those new languages quickly, they can win. And that's why Resilient Coders is a 20-week boot camp that places these young adults, 18 to 30 years old, in opportunities, train them first, and then places them in opportunities where they can see that high growth. The average salary is, well, I'll give the range, is $65,000 to $120,000 that these young adults are making once they complete the program and are placed into their career. That's life-changing.
Absolutely. I'm so focused on financial freedom. But that second word is so powerful because money is a tool.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have the mindset and the reality of trading our time for money, time as we experience it on earth is finite. If I'm always trading my time for money, I'm going to be at some deficit. I might technically even have money, but I'm going to be exhausted, right? So creating these multiple streams of revenue that also translate into flexibility and freedom.
Freedom.
Talk about those opportunities in technology as well.
I love to tell stories. So I'll just quickly share a story of one of our students who is an Army vet. She was working for an organization where she was making about $35,000 a year. And she has 2 children. And she said, you know what? I need to do something different. So she joined Proscalis. And Proscalis, they're one of our partners. They got her to the IT part where she was able to work on the help desk. And once she did that, she said, I really love this. I think I can do more. And so she applied to Resilient Coders, one of our first cohorts out of Philadelphia. While she was going through the program, she had SNAP benefits, and she was also receiving other governmental benefits. And her house caught on fire. She had so many obstacles in front of her. But she said, I'm going to finish this. She was hired by Amazon Audible when she completed the program. She's been there for 2 years, on a track for leadership now. She has a house in New Jersey with a pool. Her 2 children are in private school. And one of the things that I heard her talk about is the freedom to be able to choose what she can eat, where they will travel, what they buy, to have that kind of freedom where when you're receiving WIC, they tell you, this is what you can eat. This is what you can afford to buy. This is the kind of cereal you can get. Having that removed creates a freedom that reduces a level of stress.
Yes.
Because now I know when I get a bill or I have an emergency, I know that, wow, all I have to do is go to my account and it's there. That creates a whole different level of, like we said, freedom. But then what does it do for the next generation? She has 2 children. And so now her children are saying, I'm going to be a software engineer. Mommy, let's play the tech code game together. Let's build something together. So now her children have had their minds enlarged and enhanced, and it's impacting the cousins, and then it impacts the aunties and the uncles. And so wait a minute, what are you doing? We have an opportunity to change the economic landscape of a generation.
Yes.
And not just one generation, multiple generations, when we provide opportunities and open doors for young adults from BIPOC communities to come in, learn these skills, and implement them and show their value in the organization.
So very powerful. Such a great testimony,
Mm-hmm.
right? Such a great testimony because it proves that it is possible and possible in any age and any stage of life.
Yes.
Which is also really powerful. I was about to say former poet. I think you're always a poet. I don't perform as much.
I've heard you say that you. I've heard you talk about your poetry, and
yes,
we want to go back and snap. Yes,
absolutely. And from I have two poetry books, a spoken word CD, performed back in the day in competitions through Deaf Poetry Jam, stuff like that. That might be a story for another episode. I think I'll dig into my poet bag and actually let the folks know. But I brought it up because one of my poems called A Villager Speaks says, until you take your last breath, you will always have time to return to your place of origin and begin again. And when I say origin now, it actually is not a circle, but a cylinder that continues to rise. I come face to face with lessons with a different perspective, which presents a different opportunity. So when I hear you talk about reskilling and upskilling, reimagining, repurposing, and then allowing that foundation that we talked about earlier to be the foundation of generational wealth, particularly in Black and Brown communities, that is a game changer where we're no longer chasing income, but then creating opportunities for business that will outlive us. And those lessons that will outlive us and endure as well. Particularly, final point here, and I'm interested in your thoughts about this, and then let's get into the actual steps for the boot camp. This idea that from the perspective of reskilling, when you are tech adjacent, my friend Crystal Houston, she likes to say, I'm not a techie, I'm tech adjacent, but we're both working in the space. And I am very much tech adjacent. I had to learn the language and reposition myself. How does someone who has no connection to tech adjacent like myself, believe that it's possible to make this pivot?
You love listening to podcasts, but have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Maybe you want to build a brand, grow your business, or are looking for an excuse to talk about your favorite hobby. Whatever your reason for making a podcast, Buzzsprout is the place to start. Since 2009, Buzzsprout has helped over 300,000 people launch their own podcasts. Buzzsprout walks you step by step through the whole process and will give you powerful tools to start, grow, and monetize your podcast. Ready to get started? Click the link in the show notes to get our free step-by-step guide to starting your podcast today.
I am tech adjacent. I too am tech adjacent. And I know that one thing for me, I've had an opportunity to work in multiple industries. So having that foundation, and I think we've used that word in business, but then I'm surrounded by geniuses. I have a team. I get to work with a team of people who are in tech, who have done it. Our managing director of engineering, Leon Noel, who is also a Philly John, graduated from engineering and science, went on to Yale University, has opened businesses, and now he's the chief architect of our program and teaching our young adults. So he says to me, Ayanna, I have the programming, I have the curriculum, I have all of that on lock. He has 4 software engineers on the team who work alongside. And so together, our arms are interlocked as we are all fully focused on our mission, social justice through economic empowerment. So I have the business side, they have the technology side, and together we birth brilliance. I don't need to know everything to be effective in what I do. I do need to have the best people around me to make sure that we're doing the best work.
Very powerful. And that's a true testament to you in terms of leadership as well, that surrounding yourself with an amazing tribe of folks who are operating in their zone of genius allows you to do the same.
Yes. And they pull me up. You know, when you're around a group of young adults that are 18 and 30, it keeps me relevant.
Same. Same. Very much same. Hi, I'm Dr. Tanya M. Evans, author of Digital Money Demystified. And I want to let you know that to stay on the leading edge of any opportunity, especially investing, you have to empower yourself with the tools and resources needed to keep your knowledge and skills current. And if you're relying on last year's information or even last month's, look, you're already behind. Sure, you can try to figure this out on your own at YouTube University. The problem is It's difficult to separate fact from fiction with so many carnival barkers banking on your inexperience. And of course, there are the naysayers, usually from legacy finance, banking on your fear, while they quietly help their high net worth clients to invest. All of it muddies the waters when all you want to know is how to get in safely, legally, and confidently so you're not left behind. That's why I wrote Digital Money Demystified, where I take the top 10 crypto myths head on and give you well-researched, well-supported facts to empower you to make good choices out there in the new digital cash economy. As a law professor who developed the first blockchain crypto and law online certificate program, a retail and corporate crypto policy and education trainer, and a thought leader appearing regularly on national media, I've done the heavy lifting so you don't have to. Look, there are plenty of books and courses on which crypto assets to invest in. Digital Money Demystified is the book you read before you dive into those. So head to digitalmoneydemystified.com to learn more and prepare for the future of money and wealth today. Excellent. All right. So let's explain to folks. They go to your website, resilientcoders.org.
Yes.
Okay. So they go to your website. They're all excited. They're like, okay, it doesn't matter that I'm tech adjacent. I'm in it to win it. What's the process? Explain how one goes from the informational inquiry to getting a great job on the other side.
Yes. So we have a process that we love to hold your hand as you walk through. So you go on our website, you apply for the program. First of all, we have all of the qualifications listed, not hard qualifications, but we just want to let you know what you're getting yourself into.
Sure.
And once you complete the application, you're invited to what we call a hackathon. And at the hackathon, we ask you to watch a video, and the video is of our managing director of engineering, Leon, and he's doing a lecture. And so you already get like one lecture under your belt of what coding is, what we do. And then from there, you come to the hackathon, and on the spot, you're able to start coding. You're able to work in a group on a team and start coding alongside one of our alumni who've already gone through the program. So they're supporting you and your team as you're developing and redeveloping our website on the spot. And so from there, we can see, like, we kind of hop around to see who's engaged, because you can tell within 30 seconds who watched the video and who did not.
you know, you're talking to a professor, so yes. I have a keen sight. You know, who is prepared and who is not.
Who is prepared, who is not, who showed up for the fun,
yes,
and who did not prepare. So we can tell within 30 seconds if they've downloaded the information we've asked them. And we're very fortunate that we have a long list of folks who want to get involved. So we come together at the conclusion of a hackathon, and we do at least 4 of them. And we kind of trade baseball cards. We say, oh, okay, what did you think of this person? How was this person? Did they do the work? And we pretty much get to see who comes back for a second interview. And the second interview was a one-on-one process where they answer questions like, tell me about yourself. What were you doing prior to? And then we drill it down to about 45 people per cohort. It is a tough process. Some folks didn't get in one time. They come back a second time. They come back a third time. And they're able to enroll in the program. If they need a laptop, we help them with that. They will receive a biweekly stipend of $1,000.
Outstanding.
That's because you're required to quit your job. This is a full-time opportunity. It's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Then they have what we call community hours, where they're able to do their work and see our mentors and get help with their projects. And then in the evening, they're working and banging out the work that they need to do for the next day. So they're constantly immersed in the background. In the morning, we have stand-ups, which mirror what tech organizations do. They have sprints, they have think sprints. So they're just completely immersed for 20 weeks. Going through the process, we have meet and greet with employer partners. They're coming in, they're talking with them. We go through behavioral interviews. They have to pass a tech interview in order to graduate. And they also have to have their capstone project, which is their demo day project. That is a full stack web application that they build from scratch, that they have to come and share with our community. They have to share with employer partners And they have to be prepared to talk about their code and answer questions about their code. It doesn't have to be perfect. And a lot of them like, oh, my code broke. But if you can explain why your code
Right.
broke, if you can talk to someone in the industry and they understand, I've watched them have these like wonderful engagements about why, well, you did this. Okay, my code broke. Well, I used this. I used MongoDB, but then I had to switch and use, and it creates that conversation. And after each one of our demo days, that's the conclusion of our program prior to graduation. We have a big group and they're like, oh my goodness, I did it. I am a software engineer. I did this. I created this. When I started, I was a caseworker. When I started, I taught chemistry. When I started, I was a security guard at Walmart. And now look at what I'm able to do because they immersed themselves in it completely for 20 weeks.
This is exceptional on so many levels because you have seen the needs of, well, let me say it this way. There are logistical and financial impediments oftentimes for people to go back and reskill, re-educate, etc. And you saw that, you met those needs to create an opportunity for someone to just invest in themselves by even having the stipend, which is something I don't hear often. And I just think that is so wise. Is this 100% in person, online, or some hybrid opportunity?
That's a good question. It's 100% virtual. We do have a boot camp out of Boston, and we are also in Philadelphia. But both classes or all students are in one classroom together, whether they're in Boston or Philadelphia, and it's completely remote.
Excellent, excellent. And one of my final questions is how you source funding and the partnerships, because such a critical component to the education piece is after that, the likelihood of actually connecting with an employer. What I hear is that you've involved employers throughout the process, so they actually have a leg up on the competition to see someone evolve over time. So talk about your partnerships and funding and how someone who may want to contribute can reach out and do the same.
Sure. So we have great employer partners. We work with organizations like Audible and HubSpot, Car Gurus, DraftKings, Independence Blue Cross, Slalom, and many more. And when they hire from us, they commit to pay a hiring fee of $15,000, which reinvests in the organization and reinvests in our students. So we're able to bring in another one. And so that's a huge benefit. We also have many wonderful individual donors, folks who just make a monthly pledge and just say, hey, I want to be part of this. And if someone's listening and they would like to do that, you can go right to our website, resilientcoders.org, and click donate. And I cannot talk enough about our funders and our partners in Philadelphia, the Boston Foundation, in Boston, in Philadelphia, SVP, United Way, Comcast. They donate. And not only do they donate, but they invest in the community by hiring at times or making those impartations in the skill set of our staff. So we have lots of funders and we have them listed on our website as well. And if you are part of a foundation and are interested, I would love to talk to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, this is that part at the end. It's kind of like an altar call in the sense of, because I'm already reaching into my bag. You can expect to see something from me. But let's, for one final time during this conversation, to sow into folks, to give them some hope and some encouragement that they can participate meaningfully and substantially so in the future of work and what I call the future of wealth, that you can build something that is yours, that you get to pass on, not the least of which is your education, your business acumen as well. So let's provide a little hope for folks. A lot of hope has already been expressed in terms of actionable steps to move forward. But any parting words you want to leave with folks?
Yes, I'm going to use a quote that I heard from you that I mentioned earlier, and I told you I have it on my quote wall. And I'll apply this to BIPOC communities and to our young adults. We have survived. You have survived 100% of your bad days. You're still here because you have an opportunity to do more, to be more, to ask for more. There is an abundance of opportunity in our land. Yes, yes, yes. We hear about the economy. We hear about the downturn. We hear about the layoffs, but we don't always think about the opportunities that are coming and are at the helm. And I want you to just take a look, not at your bank account, not at what you're seeing now, but with faith. Think about the opportunities in tech that are ahead of you and what you can do. You may be tech adjacent right now, but there are opportunities out there just for you. And if you're listening and you have a young adult in your life that's 18 or 30, they're always on the phone. They're always talking about computers. They're always geeked out with video games. This is an opportunity for them as well. We as a people will thrive. Our young adults will thrive. We will close the wealth gap with opportunities like this. We can't do it by ourselves, but we can do it together. We can fight against institutional apathy. We can fight against poverty, and we can see the next generation thrive.
Ayanna Lott-Pollard, Resilient Coders, and my new member of my family.
Yes.
I thank you so much for your time, for all the work that you are doing to leave people, places, and things better than you found them. I appreciate you, sister, and I look forward to nation building with you. The road is bright because of people like you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Tech Intersect podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you love it, please tell the world. If not, go ahead and tell me. And in either case, drop a comment or ping me on social media at IPProfEvans with the hashtag Tech Intersect. And finally, a quick reminder on digital safety. There are a lot of scammers out there impersonating me and others, and I need your help. Now hear this, and remember, I will never slide into your DMs to say peace and blessings or hey, and I will never reach out to solicit your time or your money on social media like ever. I'm not a trader. I am an educator and an attorney licensed in 4 states. Thank you very much. I'm here to inform, inspire, and empower. No cap and definitely no Forex. So be careful, make good choices, and remember, I developed an entire free masterclass about the topic of digital safety in the crypto space. So check out secureyourcryptobag.com for more information. That's secureyourcryptobag.com. All right, that's all for this episode. Until next time, continue to shine.